And we are about to get hit by a car. And we are back with another one. So we're in the good old Suzuki Every. We got the Legend right here, looking ugly as hell as always. And we're gonna go through the drive-thru, go get Dunkin' first, and then we're gonna take a nice little trip to FCP Euro in Milford. This is gonna be the first time that the van actually leaves town. And honestly,
it is 95 degrees.
Yeah, it is. It's hot. It's definitely hot. But I've been putting 93 in the van, and the van's opened up. Let me tell you, okay? There's this, and then there's Andrew Tate's Bugatti. All right, I'm telling you right now. But
I'm sure he doesn't have a white Bugatti, so.
Yeah, exactly. What color's your Bugatti? You know, what color's your Bugatti, guys? So hopefully it shouldn't be too bad. It's a 35-minute ride if you go on the highway. So hopefully not on the highway should be like 48 minutes, and can't wait, I guess.
If we do die of heat stroke, make sure you guys take care of the channel.
If we go down, hopefully it's in the video so you guys see it, and it'll just, and then you guys. But whatever. Let's get on this ride. All right. So we're going to Libby's in New Haven, Libby's Motorsports. If you don't know what that place is, and so pretty much we need parts for the Grom. Like I said, I do want to do a few things for the Grom. I ordered a lot of the parts, but I figured we could go pick up some of them. So we just need oil, spark plugs, and handlebars. So once we get those, we can get working on the Grom. And yeah. What do you think about the ride? I mean, we're pretty much in New Haven. It took us, honestly, the ride wasn't bad at all. In my opinion, it wasn't bad at all. And
not bad. The windows down, you don't feel the heat too often. So
yeah, the 300-degree heat, you don't feel it. Yeah, it's not too bad.
The only issue is when you're like just stationary, you know, just like at a light or something. But other than that, it's fine.
Honestly, my biggest thing with this car, the acceleration. Like it goes when you're going, but like when you first need to go, that's the problem. Especially when you're in traffic, because like people don't want to wait. And I don't know if you guys know Connecticut, but no one in New Haven has time for anything. So it's either you go or you get shot. So it's up to you. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, we're here. I'm gonna show you guys the parts we get, and then we'll put them on, I guess. Why not? Okay, so we're leaving Libby's now, and like I said, if you don't know what Libby's is, it's in New Haven. They are actually a Honda sponsored dealership, I guess you could say, because so they have all the Groms, Monkeys, the Super Cubs, whatever you want, anything Honda, they have it. Dirt bikes, quads, and yeah, check them out. I mean, if you need parts for your Groms, you know, that's the place to go to. But you look frozen. You look like a freaking statue, dude.
Dude, it's so hot, bro.
Look, so this is what we ended up getting. We got the these are, I think these are the hold on. Yeah, the KLX 110. So you can either run the KLX 110 or the CR50 is like another like big popular one, but those are kind of a lot higher. They sit a lot higher than these ones. I like these. I feel comfortable when I do wheelies on them. I had them on the OG Grom as well. And then we got the oil. We got the spark plug, because obviously you need a spark plug, you know what I'm saying?
Oil, 4-stroke.
And I know people are saying go with like a different, the Maxim I think is one of the oil, but you gotta go. I'm telling you right now, with the OG Honda GN4 oil. And that's exactly what we went with. So I'm gonna go home, put all this stuff on, and you know, now I guess we gotta take a ride to FCP Euro. You know what I'm saying? We gotta rep the boys. So we still got a nice little ride for a hot ass day. But all right, before we start putting all the parts on the Honda Grom, I figured I'd show you guys everything that I put on here. So if you don't know, I have the 2019. This is the SF Honda Grom, and I'm gonna show you everything I got. So the bars, as you guys just saw, we went and picked them up. Now I got right here. This is gonna be the clutch plate. Okay, so this is the Chimera. I know I'm butchering that, but whatever. So I got this clutch thing, the clutch plate, only because the clutch springs are stiffer. So these are actually 60% stiffer clutch springs, and these are actually made by Sex Machine Racing. What a name, SMR. Whatever. So these two are gonna be a good upgrade for the clutch, and I think it's definitely needed, especially if you're like me and you want to do wheelies. Definitely gonna need it. And then another huge thing you're gonna need is going to be the 14-tooth sprocket. So you can find all this stuff on Steady Garage. I'm gonna put the link to Steady Garage. Whatever you need for your Honda Grom, whether it's OG, SF, or whatever the newest one is, the 2022, they'll have all of it. They also have ground parts. So if you need anything, Steady Garage, that's the way to go. Like I said, the 14-tooth sprocket, we're gonna put that on. Then we got the throttle tube. So this is supposed to be like the quarter turn or an easier turn throttle tube made by Kitako. So, Kitako. I love how like everything's like Japanese. It's like so perfect. Whatever. That's that. And to get rid of these stupid like alien ear looking freaking turn signals. I went with the TST, and with the TSTs, you actually need a secondary part. So if you get the TST turn signals, you're going to need the little connectors. So that shouldn't be too hard. We're just gonna, it's literally just plug and play once you get this connector, and then you just buy those two. And we're also gonna do the handlebars. Like I said, we got the grips. You got the Van Colt grips. And you know I'll be repping the Vans. Come on now, look at this. Like, so on top of that, because we're actually gonna be doing, I'm gonna show you that in a second. That's the oil pump, all right? So because we're gonna be doing the oil pump, I actually ended up getting the gasket for the casing. And once we get that off, we'll just take the old, so I know they don't rip, sometimes they don't rip, but it's just much easier to just get the old gasket off, put the new one on, and these are paper, so, I mean, why risk the damage, right? But the biggest thing is going to be the oil pump. So I guess you could call this an unboxing, but this is the oil pump by Grom Beardo. So, and this is the box that it comes in, right? My man gives, look at this, handwritten to your boy. Like, thank you for the support. Like, look at how nice this is. Titties out. So shout out to Grom Beardo. Shout out, thank you for all the stickers. My man's a legend. So if you don't know, for the oil pump mod, like especially the modded oil pumps, there's different brands you could get. So you could go with the straight up pumps, or you could go with Grom Beardo. He makes his own. Now the difference is, so on my OG, I had the straight up pumps one, and look at this thing. Like, look at good packaging, nice packaging. Love the peanuts. Oh, let me open this up. Okay, the difference between this and the original oil pump is that this one is actually mounted to have this little tube right here, right? So this is actually aluminum. On the straight up pumps one, it's going to be copper. However, just like my boy freaking Grom Beardo says, everything else is made out of aluminum, so why not have an aluminum feed like tube? Oh, look at this. So what happens is when you're wheeling these, right, the oil actually ends up going to the back of the engine, and then the pickup tube is not able to pick up any oil. So then what ends up happening is your engine gets starved of oil, and then once it's starved of oil, you know what happens then? Catastrophic. Look at this. Look, he's even got a little, that's awesome. But once I get the other oil pump off, I'll be able to show you guys exactly the big difference between the two. And then hopefully you guys will kind of, if you've never done this, and if you don't know about it, this is probably the #1 modification for your Grom that I would recommend. I don't want to bore you guys with all the instructions on how to exactly do an oil change. So just make it real quick. There's a 17 mil bolt right here. You see it? So you're going to do that, drain all the oil. And then to be able to get the casing off, especially for the oil pump, you're going to have to take all these 8 mils off, right? So there's a bunch of 8 mils on it. And these, you can just put right back on after. However, for the clutch, you're just going to push this forward, push it through, or pull the clutch in and then hold it forward, and then just push this out. And then it'll literally just slide right out. And then once it's slid out, you can just take it off, and then the casing should be able to come out. Now, if the casing doesn't come out, you might have to take this bolt out and this one. So do the rear sets, do them like just loosen them, and then that way you should be able to get a little bit more, because there's not a lot of clearance here. So you might be able to get just enough so that you don't have to remove the rear sets, and you'll be able to pull this out. But let's get to it. Okay, so I finally got the case off. Now, a couple things to remember. The rear set, like I said, you might have to take off. You are definitely going to have to take that off. So don't even waste your time, breath, energy, none of that. Take it off. I think it's just a 17 mil and then, or a 19 mil, one of those. Take that off. There should be a 10 or 12 mil at the bottom of that, and then that'll just come right off. Depending on how you bracket it up to your exhaust, that's pretty much, it's very simple, self-explanatory. I'm sure you guys can figure it out. If you can't, I don't know, comment me, we'll figure it out together. But get the case off. Finally did that. Now, I have both the oil pumps. So this is the regular oil pump. This is the oil pump that your Grom comes with. As you could tell, there's no pickup tube. Here's the difference. This is the Grom Beardo, custom made. Look at this. This is nice. My man does it all. So now, if you look at this one, because there's no pickup tube, like I said, when you do a wheelie, right? So this is how the oil pump sits. When you do a wheelie, all the oil goes down to the bottom because now the engine is up. So it'd be, oh, sorry, it'd be this way. So when you do a wheelie, it's this way. All the oil's at the bottom, and your oil pump is actually not picking any oil up, so it's not able to suck in any oil to be able to run it through your engine. Now, if you have the modded, you have a pickup tube that's going to fit right through the casing, and then when you do a wheelie, it'll be up this way, and it'll be able to use the feeder tube to just suck in the oil, and it'll be able to cycle through the oil pump. And in that way, your engine won't be starved, and you won't have to worry about any engine damage if you are doing wheelies. Now, a couple things. If you are going to do this mod, I would recommend this if you are going to start getting into wheelies, especially if you're someone who could wheelie for a long time. So obviously, yeah, short real bursts of wheelies, you should be just fine. Now I'm saying should be. But if you are someone who's going to wheelie for a long time, or you're doing second gear wheelies where your wheelies are up and, you know, the engine's literally like in a vertical for a little while, you definitely do this mod. This is just one of the easiest mods to do. This feeder tube is just going to feed into the case. There's a little hole back there, and the rest is just pretty much putting it all back together in just 2 seconds. So let me show you guys exactly where you're supposed to feed this in. You have the feeder tube, and the feeder tube is actually going to feed in. There's a little hole right under that bolt right there. So this is just going to feed right in here, and then it's going to take a little bit of finagling. I know it's hard, but you're just going to feed this in all the way, and then feed it at an angle. And then once you do the finagling and whatnot, hold on. Like I said, you are going to finagle it, so don't worry, it's not going to break, I promise you that. And then with a little bit of finagling, we're almost there. A little bit of finagling, it'll get there. And then once it does, you'll be able to just throw this, bolt it right back on. But let me see if I get this with 2 hands. My bad. After a little bit of finagling, it's finally on there. There's dowels in this one and in this one. So that'll just line it up. You'll be able to push it in. And then all you have to do is throw the 3 bolts back on. And one more thing, when you are doing an oil change, I would recommend doing this probably every other oil change, just because obviously this is a little bit more time consuming than it is just to drop this little drain bolt. However, there's a screen in these. So the Groms don't actually have oil filters. They have these oil screens. And usually what happens is there's a little collection of metal shards and metal shavings on here, just from, you know, riding on the engine and whatnot. And mine actually had it. I just took it out, clean it up, push it back in. Now, unless you have the 2022, which that actually already comes with an oil filter, which makes life a lot easier. But if it doesn't, every other oil change, I would definitely recommend doing this. Now, the next thing I'm going to tackle is going to be this bad boy right here, which is the clutch plate. The reason why we have to change the clutch plate is because, like I said, we're going to do 60% heavier on the clutch springs. And the clutch springs being 60% heavier is way too much force for the OEM clutch plate to hold. So we're going to have to switch that up, put a stronger one on. But hopefully it shouldn't be too hard. 3 bolts, take it out, put springs in, put the clutch plate on, and bam. Finally got the OEM clutch plate off, and we have the Chimera right here. Now this bearing that's in there, this actually came out of the OEM one, so when you do drop it, make sure you get the bearing out of this and slip it right into this one, and then you'll be able to put this right on here. But first, these are the OEM springs, right? So we're gonna be switching these little soft things for these little bad boys. So gonna put these springs right into here, literally just drop them in like this. Put the clutch plate on, and then hopefully just screw back on, and it should be done. However, it looks like we might have to lay her down, or we might have to get a little bit of help, so we shall see. I got the clutch plate on there, got the springs. Let me tell you, this is not going to be easy to do by yourself. So either lay the bike down or have 2 people. I actually had to use help. So there's these 3 right here. And if you do the modification for the basket itself, the clutch basket, you could get all 6 bolts in. And I just personally don't think it's needed. I mean, you have these 3 and it should be good. Whatever. It should be good, right? Yeah, whatever. So we got that all on there. Now we got to put the new gasket on. And before you put that on, word of advice, clean all this up, right, with a little razor blade if it does get stuck to it. And then for the casing, do the same thing. So if you see any like uneven rigid spots, or you see any of the old gasket on there, make sure you hit it with a razor to clean everything off. That way you have a good seal, and then you're not too worried about it leaking oil. So let's put the gasket on, let's throw the case back on, and let's fire up, put the oil in. Okay, so I finally got everything squared away. All the bolts, including the ones inside for the clutch plate and the ones on the casing, everything is 9 foot-pounds that you're gonna have to do the torque specs. Now we've got the funnel. The last thing we need is to add oil. Hopefully it doesn't leak, and then we should be good. I don't know why I have an extra large funnel for the world's smallest bike, but hear me out, it'll work. So the spider webs in here, I swear, add extra horsepower. I mean, we're not leaking, right? Not bad. It looks pretty good. So for these, I just put 1 exact quart, so I just throw this whole quart in there. And I know people that run a little bit more, or people that run a little bit less, which I don't think you need to do that. Just run 1 quart, you'll be just fine. I mean, it is a lawnmower engine, so I think you'll be just fine.
All right, we are back, and it is a new day, so I just wanted it to, you know, kind of be able to ride the Grom and actually give you guys my exact opinion on how it feels to ride with it instead of just, you know, feeling how the clutch feels on just in my garage. So now that we're on the Grom, now that we're riding, I've been coming down the street for a little while, and honestly, with the new clutch springs and the clutch plate and, well, the, you know, oil pump's really not going to make a big difference. That's just more for us to be able to do wheelies. But with the stiffer clutch springs, I don't really notice a difference in the like the stiffness of the clutch. I don't know if that's because, you know, obviously I'm used to like pulling in the hard freaking Harley clutch, but it's not that bad, and I don't think it's gonna make a big enough difference for you to be like, oh well, you know, if it's gonna make it much stiffer, I don't want to ride with it. Oh, we got 999 miles. Oh man. Whatever. Sorry, I digress. But it's honestly not bad. I just think that the only thing that I've noticed is that it's a lot more responsive now. So when you actually are riding and you're switching from gears, and then you end up, you know, pulling the clutch in, go to the next gear, give it gas, dump it, it actually jolts you forward, which it used to not do that just because the gears wouldn't be so responsive. And I don't know if that's just because it was the way that the clutch was engaging from the not so stiff, you know, OEM clutch springs. We are behind this guy. We're literally, if he had a ramp, we'd be in the 18-wheeler. Jesus. All right, well, the most important part is with this with the clutch springs in there, is it going to wheelie better? So the biggest problem I had with this Grom compared to my OG is that wheeling this thing was taking work, which on my Grom I was used to not having to do that. You know what I mean? That was the best part of having a Grom. If I wanted to do work, I would have just rode my freaking Harley, you know? So I don't know, hopefully that this is gonna help fix that issue. But like I said, I still do have the 14-tooth sprocket at home waiting, and I think that's what's gonna make the biggest difference. So, but for now, I figured we'll do the clutch springs, and then maybe we'll be able to see if it's gonna help or not. So we're gonna go to the spot, go see if it's gonna be able to wheelie better. Obviously, the most important are first gear, second gear, and for me, I think second gear wheeling these things are a lot better than it is first. First is very choppy, so, you know, and if you come down either gear, it doesn't really matter. If you come down in any of them, you're not going to be able to bring it back up just because it doesn't have enough power. So if you're on a street bike and the wheelie starts coming down from, you know, balance point, you'll be able to save it. However, on this thing, you're not going to be able to do that unless you have the 14-tooth sprocket. So on my old Grom, I used to be able to move around on the seat a lot because it was a flat seat, obviously the OG, and then I'd be able to save it. But man, what's up with the traffic? You know, it's Friday on a 12:30 at noon. You know, like, come on, man. We're riding around. We got to get to the spot. Let's do a couple of first gears, right? All right, so now that we got those stiffer clutch springs, hopefully first gear will come up a lot easier. Let's see, and whoa, okay, I guess it comes up a little bit easier. I mean, honestly, first gear's always been easy though, you know. Whoop, and we're going, ladies and gentlemen, look at this, and we're going. Okay, it doesn't feel too bad. I mean, honestly, to me, it still feels the same. Whoop, not bad. Wow. Not bad. The real question is second gear though. Now let's give second gear a go. No, you see what I'm saying? Like, you see how much I have to work for that? I don't know why it's being like that. I don't like that, dude. First gear. Oh man, first gear's nice, you know what I'm saying? First gear's nice. Oh, no hander, what? Look at this, we're out of gears already. A nice little one-hander, huh? We're getting into some freestyle. All right, let's try second gear here. Okay. All right, now we got it. Like I said, second gear's not so choppy. Oh man, that's what I'm talking about. Once you get it down, it's kind of, you either got it or you don't. Honestly, I don't think there's a big enough difference for you to really notice. First gear, yes, maybe, but second gear, definitely not. Review wise, I don't know if, like, it's cheap, so I mean, if that's just, you know, another modification that you want to do and you want to just be like, hey, listen, you know, I really modded my Grom, then yeah, sure. But I don't think it's enough to, you know, justify you. First gear comes up like a champ, though. I'll promise you that right now. Look at this. So first gear comes up like a champ. Whoop. No, definitely first gear is good. Look, let's see how far we can keep this. Let's go. First gear's a lot. What the? Oh, up. First gear seems pretty responsive. So maybe if you're gonna do these first gear wheelies, maybe I would recommend doing it just because, you know, it'll obviously help you a lot. But for second gear wise, which is where I'm at, I think we need that 14 tooth sprocket. I think we really need that 14 tooth sprocket. Alright guys, so that's the end, and that's kind of just me riding around, and you get to see what it's like. I don't think it makes a big enough difference for you to actually go out and do it. However, because it is so cheap and due to the price of it, yes, I would recommend it anyway. But for a modification for the Grom, I'd probably give this like a, I don't know, because first gear really made a difference. I don't know, maybe like a 6. Yeah, like a 6 out of 10. Just because I want to be able to like really notice the difference, you know. And if I can't, that disappoints me. But I don't know. That's the ride for this one. So I hope you guys enjoyed this at least. Whoop whoop. Like I said, that was only a couple of the mods that we've done, and now we still got the 14 tooth sprocket. I also ended up going with a 420 gold chain, so I can't wait to do those. And then hopefully we'll be wheeling like a champ. But for now, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you guys like, comment, share, subscribe, all the other good stuff. And if you didn't like some, let me know. See you on the next one.